All right. Hello, I'm Lisa, and this is...
I'm Zach.
Welcome to our channel. We are Paws to Travel. We have 4 dogs and 1 cat. We would have them in here with us. However, we still have some nails on the floor, so we don't want to bring them in until it's safe, but you will get to meet them very soon.
We chose to do a skoolie rather than an RV. Well, that's obviously what we're doing here, sitting in a hollowed out skoolie. Rather than an RV because it's just, we did the travel trailer thing. They're just not built for long distance travel. They fall apart. Back in 2021, we had a brand new vintage cruiser, 19 ERD, 21-foot travel trailer, and driving around for 4 months that summer, we ran into a lot of things falling apart. And, I mean, it's brand new. Shouldn't have things falling apart or breaking that easy or not even working. So we decided to look into how to make something of our own and know how everything works so we can fix it, rather than how most RV repair places take months with your rig to get it fixed.
All right, and so during that time, we decided that we wanted to get a school bus and convert it. The process of getting a bus was a lot of research for us to figure out what we wanted and to find the right deal. So we have been planning this since about 2021, and we finally have our bus. She's mechanically sound, and we're getting into building it. But let's talk a little bit about our process. So originally, we were living in Daytona Beach, Florida. While we were in Daytona, we were doing all of the research and everything. I was a school teacher. We figured out what we wanted, and what did we want? You can talk about that stuff.
Well, we decided that we wanted the length. We were originally thinking about a mid-size, about 30 to 35 foot, but then we realized that with the 4 dogs, why not just go a little bit bigger? And we knew we didn't want the doghouse in the front. We wanted the pusher because it's usable space in there anyways. The bed's already raised up. And researching, figuring out what we wanted, and trying to find something with at least a little bit of height, because we want the roof raised, but we don't at the same time. So we decided, and we're looking for a 40-foot pusher with a what?
With a what?
I don't know.
Oh, are you talking about the engine?
No. Oh well.
40. Well, if we think about it, we'll add it in.
Maybe not. So we got the bus. We found it on Facebook Marketplace. I was driving for Amazon at the time, and in between stops, I was talking and calling the guy in South Carolina who purchased our bus at an auction, and then he unfortunately had some health issues and was no longer able to build it out. So we got the bus from him with the front tires replaced and new batteries in it. That's all he was able to do before.
And take the seats out.
Oh yeah, and he took most of the seats out. We only had 4 seats in the front in the driver's seat, thankfully. So that was a lot of the work.
Was there one in the back too when we got it?
Yes, there's one on the back bench, and then that ramp that blocked the one side. But after taking all that out in Daytona, well, we were in Daytona. I was driving for Amazon, and then...
So we found the bus, and we're like, okay, it was a weekend, and we decided, it was a Sunday, and neither of us work on Sundays. So we decided to drive out there. We had the cash in hand, and we didn't know if we were going to buy it or not, because you don't know if you're going to get catfished on Marketplace. And so we went up there and we looked at the bus before we even took it for a test drive. We knew it was in really good condition. It had under 30,000 miles, and we took it for a test drive with them, and then we're like, yep. So we bought the bus, and we had to take it back home, And we're like, okay, well, it's a full day extravaganza. It took us, what, like 8 hours to get up there?
Just about.
And we're like, okay, it was about maybe like 3 when we were headed back, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're like, okay, we have enough time to get back, and maybe it'll be super late and we'll still go to work the next day. We didn't realize, I mean, I guess we knew buses were going to go slower, but we didn't compute after buying it. And we ended up not making it back to Florida, to Daytona, until 8 o'clock the next morning. So we had to call out of work because I start at 7. So on the way home, we were calling out of work to make it, and then we pulled an all-nighter getting back. But yeah, we made it back, and it was pretty good. We noticed there was a small oil leak when we got back. And one of our first things that we were going to do was find a mechanic and take it into the mechanics just to make sure that everything was sound. So
I mean, it's a 26-year-old bus, and it only had 28,000 miles on it when we bought it. Since it was an activity bus for the school district, it didn't get much use. However, it still had the certification from the school district and their maintenance log and all that. So we're pretty excited about the very, very low mileage compared to most buses out there for sale in the same price range. And there really wasn't much wrong with it mechanically. However, once they fixed the one oil line that was causing that leak, it started to do the chain reaction, and we had to do about 3 more oil lines, and then we did the 4 rear tires just because it's already there to be safe. And we picked it up, and that took about what, 2-3 months?
yeah.
Yeah, that was about 2-3 months. We're a busy shop, and most shops here in Florida, probably everywhere, are busy.
And we weren't in a rush to get it back because right before we took it to the mechanic shop, while we had it in our driveway, we had some people in our neighborhood. We don't have an association or anything like that, but in our neighborhood, I guess some people called the town and they didn't like that we had a bus in our own driveway. So we told the mechanic shop not to rush because it was free storage. And they really didn't rush because they had it for about 3 months. We got it back. We drove it home one night. We put it in a storage unit, and then on the way home, we had a little bit of issues. What were those issues that we had? Because you were driving.
Yes, I was driving the bus. Nothing was wrong with it driving wise, but as she was following me, the blow by was spitting out a lot more black.
Oh yeah, the window was like completely black by the time we got to the gas station. It was insane because we drove all the way from the Carolinas down, and there was no issue with that. So the next morning we ended up we
called the mechanic back again. They sent out a
infield guy, service
truck to drive the hour and whatever it is, because the only mechanic that we were able to get was the place in Ocala,
the other side of Florida from us.
Yes,
right above Tampa.
So it's just a straight shot, but it's still a long drive. And they came out, assessed what it was. There's another oil hose that was leaking, and we took it back to them that same day, and they started to look at it, found out that the valve cover gasket, the tappet cover gasket, and the cam cover gasket were all, forget, it was either dry rotted or just leaking or cracked something. So we replaced all of those. We extended the blow by down further, so whatever does come out, because stuff does come out of there all the time. And so that's not going to halfway cut and all that wind get pushed back up on the back end of the bus every time. So we got those done, and the other oil line. Then
and then while it was in the shop, our mistake was saying, take your time again. because we had to figure out where in the heck we were going to build this bus. And we ended up, during the time while it was in the shop, we sold our house and in Daytona, and we moved to our old lake house up in northern Wisconsin, where we have like not a lot of land, but
5 acres.
about almost 5 acres. Most of it is swamp in the back, but there is enough to have enough land there in the back to have our bus. So we packed up, we moved. We thought the bus would be done by the time we were in the process of moving up there, because this was going to be our moving truck, and we were going to throw all the stuff that we wanted to keep in here and move it up there. But no, it wasn't ready. And we got up there, which was probably a blessing in disguise, because it allowed us to organize the house and make it what we wanted to be comfortable while we were there.
And a lot of stuff kept breaking at the house.
Everything broke because it's old. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. And then now that was in, when did we move? May?
May. Yeah, we moved in May.
So we moved in May. So we had the whole summer up there, which was super awesome. The dogs loved it. They had a lot of room to run. And then we had a trip planned. We just got back from an all-inclusive resort in Mexico. And when we got back, I was like, you know what, let's call the mechanic shop. We're here in Florida. We're at my parents' house just visiting. And so we called, and they're like, yeah, the bus is ready now. Come on and get it. I was like, so you mean I can come tomorrow? I'm like in shock that we can go get the bus, because it's been almost.
It's been 5 months of them saying they can't find certain parts because the power steering pump and the fuel pump went out while I was at the mechanics. However, they were having issues with the power steering pump. To find the part is what they kept telling me, and what I had to keep calling them on and asking what's going on. They every time would say, yep, we're waiting either for the part to come, or that part wasn't the right one, that they're ordering a new one or trying to find a new one. And then
they finally found a steering pump that worked. However, it didn't, the type of fluid in the steering pump didn't work with whatever fan system was on the older bus. And so they had to try like so many different types of oils and fluids until eventually, I think they said they landed on some 520 oil.
Yeah, 520 oil.
Which they were still able to steer, and nothing was locking up. So our bus is home-ish. Well, not home in Wisconsin, but it is home with us. And so we're just sitting out front of my parents' house right now.
Where we're deciding to continue to build, because up north in Wisconsin, it is -12 while it is 86 here. Yeah. So we have the time. We can do what we need to do. So far in Daytona, we gutted the ceilings, and we did most of the floor all the way up to the cab area. And since I knew we were moving, we didn't want to touch any of that and pull the driver's seat up and get under that and clean there yet, because I didn't feel too comfortable taking it out and putting it in more than once. And we have officially done that now in the past few days. Torn apart the dash, and it is just
we weren't gonna fully take apart the dash, but then my stepdad was like, I guess, kind of convinced us, and we're happy we did, because underneath our dash was actually our rustiest spot on our bus in the front. We have a little bit of surface rust on our floor, but
very little.
After we pulled up that front dash, we realized that was our most rusty spot, which still isn't bad compared to some buses that we've seen videos on. But we're really happy we did. And there was so much dust under it. And while they were doing it, I was like, you guys are breathing in 30 years worth of skin cells.
Little kids' skin
cells.
Yes. And since there's an activity bus, it might be sweaty little kids' skin cells.
So, yeah, we're really happy we started to take that up. We're going to delete a lot of the wiring that we don't need, just to make it easier for us to be able to maintain on the road. It's all apart right now, and for me it looks really overwhelming, and I don't even know where to start, but
we got it.
Are pretending they have it now. They're learning as they go.
Yes. So. Yesterday was mainly the coolant lines to the passenger heater and taking out the squirrel cage for the defrost heater, just so we can get to the floors underneath. Today Lisa and I are going to be first measuring out what we need to order for the skins, because we're going to delete all the windows and skin it off, even though we're not doing a roof raise. We don't want the chance for leaky bus windows, even though they do look good. But it'll be really nice. And once we measure that out, we are going to look around. We have a couple ideas on how we want to look for the either galvanized metal or possibly roofing metal.
Yeah.
Her father-in-law has a connection for that, so depending on pricing and gauging, we might
and some
go with
research
that.
as to how it will hold up. So if any of you guys have used roofing metal to cover up your windows, how did it work for you? Let us know. We're interested in hearing, because we haven't seen anything on that, and I don't know if it's just because it's slightly thinner, because I think the thickest it can get is 22 gauge, is what Sean said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after we measure that all out today, we're going to start attacking the surface rust down.
Yep.
And clean this up, because we have the chassis saver on the way.
Yep, which keeps getting delayed. It was supposed to be here today or tomorrow, and now it's not coming for another 8 days.
The first one was yesterday.
Yeah.
And now tomorrow, and then now 8 days later. So who knows? We'll get it eventually. I mean, it's not a big rush. We still have so much other work to do here. Anything else?
Nope. We're gonna show some of our process of building. So welcome again to our channel, and we hope you subscribe. We know it's our first video, and it's probably a little rough, but we're just gonna leave it like this, because we'll learn as we go, and we have so much to do on the bus.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us if you made it to the end.